Developmental molecular biology and research consultant, John Medina says that the root of all our problems is our brain's way of thinking. And this can be cured only when we know the essential rules of the mind. So that's why he wrote the New York Times bestseller book Brain Rules for Us, in which he has told 12 scientific brain rules. By knowing and following, we can increase our reading, learning, and working power 10 times. Whether you are a businessman or job-working student or teacher, these 12 ways will take your performance to the next level and make you and your brain better and smarter in daily life. So let's know those 12 rules. Rule number 1. Brain is a survival organ, which evolved with time. With the development of us humans, our way of thinking and the techniques of survival have also developed and separated from earlier. Even though we may not be the most powerful in the world, but we have developed ourselves more over time. And this is also the reason for our survival. Whether it is our tomorrow or our today, analyzing your problem and cooperating with other human beings to survive has been our survival strategy for thousands of years. So that helped to survival, and we can move our genes even further. And if our environment and the people around support our goal, then our positivity and creativity are also boosted. But if our relationship connections are not right with other people, then the group and environment make both our brain and our life useless. And the same thing can also become the reason for our premature death. So, only do the strongest brain survival, not the strongest body. Rule number 2. Exercise boosts our brain power. Researchers conducted a study on 2 types of populations that lived different lifestyles from each other. Group A had those people who did physical exercise daily and were highly active. And, on the other hand, Group B had those people who did not do any physical exercise daily, nor were highly active. So research found that the cognitive scope of Group A has more than compared to Group B. By the way, our brain is made to walk 19 kilometers daily. But if we do any physical exercise for 30 minutes, 2 to 3 days a week, then we can increase the energy of our brain and increase the power of thinking and writing. Because exercise delivers blood to the brain, and then the same brain energy eliminates toxic cells in the brain with the help of glucose. So that the flow of oxygen can clear the brain fog and thinking block of the brain. With this, more neurons can reach the brain, and that neuron can increase our creativity and mental sharpness. Rule number 3. Sleep well, think well. Good sleep makes our thinking correct and productive. Due to not taking proper sleep, the brain damages our focusing power and brain functions, memory and mood and even logic thinking over time. In one study, it was found that taking 26 minutes of sleep measurement increased the performance of NASA pilots by 34%. So, if you also feel tired throughout the day, or if you feel like sleeping in the afternoon, then it is common. Because around 3 p.m., there is a race of biochemicals going on in the brain, in which one side tries to stay awake and the other side wants to sleep. Then if it is possible at that time, one should sleep for some time. Dr. Medina says that our brain is not resting even during sleep, it is doing information process and learning things throughout the day. But it is very important for us to take proper sleep and nap for a productive mind. Rule number 4. Stressed brains don't learn the same way. Worrying all the time damages both our learning ability and brain. Our brain is made to deal with stress lasting only about 30 seconds. Not for long-lasting stress, because taking more stress damages the blood vessels of our brain, and due to this we can also get heart attack. If you have to deal with daily stress at work, at home, at school, then this same stress also affects your chances of being successful in your life. Meaning if your home environment is not good, then its stress will disturb you in your job and in your class, and will spoil your performance and productivity. Because due to increased stress, cell damage starts in the hippocampus. Rule number 5. Every brain is wired differently. We have been told in school that we humans have the same brain. But this information is totally wrong. After much research, the scientists told that the wiring of the brain of every human being is different. We can develop your brain, but our brain cannot be like any other, even two twins. Our education system is ignoring the different brain wiring through the grade system, where our intelligence is measured by course test and marks, whereas every student has a different brain wiring. Whereas every student's employee's customer's brain has different wiring, due to which the business site Amazon World has become a successful company by knowing the information and interest of crores of people. That's when we see a product only once on Amazon or any other affiliating site, then that product appears on all our social media platforms. Rule number 6. We don't pay too attention to boring things. We focus only on those things behind which our interest, profit and culture is attached. It doesn't matter who you are, your brain consciously and subconsciously focuses on these questions, like can I eat this? Can this eat me? Can I make this relation? Have I seen it? And interest or result seeks. Brain is not made for multitasking, but still offices and schools force us to do multitasking. Multitasking increases our chances of mistake and failure by 50%. Rule number 7. Repeat to remember. The Romans had a nice saying, repetitio mater studiorum estate. That's mean, repetition is the mother of learning. But why? Because that's precisely how your brain works when it tries to remember things. It first encodes them and then stores them. However, unless you try to decode the info repeatedly, your brain just forgets the code, and, thus, you forget the information. This is the reason why you sometimes can suddenly recall something you've forgotten after reproducing the environment or the immediate surrounding information of the one you're interested in. The more elaborate the initial encoding, the longer you'll remember the info. The more often you visit the information stored, the more likely it will become part of your long-term memory. Rule number 9. Stimulate more of the senses. You know why some people have unlimited memories? Because they include more of their senses to remember things. Just ask synesthetes, aka people who hear in colors or see sounds. Apparently, they also remember things unusually well. Rule number 10. Vision trumps all other senses. Leonardo da Vinci knew this intuitively. Science has all but proven it. Vision is by far our most dominant sense, taking up half of our brain's resources. In fact, it's wrong to say that we see with our eyes. We're, in truth, seeing with our brains. Consequently, what we see is only what our brain tells us we see. It's only natural that this is not 100% accurate. In fact, this explains, in no uncertain terms, why some people see ghosts or visions. Simply put, their eyes are seeing what their brain tells them to see, even though there's nothing of that sort in reality. Vision is so important, in fact, that, as Wittgenstein argued, it's possible that you can't really understand things unless you translate them into images. That's the reason why you use analogies, and why the only way you can comprehend the beginning of Beethoven's Fifth is by saying that it's destiny knocking on the door. We learn and remember best through pictures, not through written or spoken words.